Hi, I'm Christina, and welcome to this episode of Women's Health, Wealth, and Happiness Interviews to Inspire. I'm excited to introduce our next guest, an entrepreneur, cancer survivor, and a woman on the mission. For her, health is resilience. After being diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, she turned her personal journey into a mission of empowerment. She founded TryingNotToDie.live, a platform for strength and hope that supports people who are navigating cancer. Wealth is freedom for this guest as the host of the Business Power Hour podcast. She brings her communication expertise and passion for resilience into every conversation. Through her happiness of gratitude, she guides others to embrace strength and hope for life's precious moments. Please join me in welcoming our next guest, founder and president of Wise Women Communications, Deb.
I am so excited to be here, and I'm so honored to be on your program. Thank you so much. This is such a delight. It was one of those I never expected to be able to say, I'm a cancer survivor. I actually had 3 different types of cancer in under 10 years, but that's just a small part of who I am. I am a Colorado native that lives in Atlanta. And so people say, where are you from? And I say, well, I'm from Colorado, but I live in Atlanta. My husband and he is retired now. And so we're having fun traveling, doing all sorts of fun things, and basically going to having cancer.
Deb, your health word is resilience. Tell me what resilience means to you.
Well, to me, it's that whatever comes your way, you can survive it. Obviously, there are challenges. It is not a happy wee type of thing, but it's digging deep. It's getting the people around you who should be part of your team and getting rid of the people who shouldn't be part of your team, right? That's very important. But it is about knowing that no matter what, you will be able to get through it. It was definitely a challenge when I was diagnosed with cancer because I was told initially it was stage 0, not to worry. We went, okay. I didn't even get an oncologist for several months. And then eventually, within about 6 months, that diagnosis changed to stage 4. So my whole technical thing is stage 4, triple positive metastatic breast cancer. And stage 4 is not considered to be curable. Now, it can go into remission and never come back. And I am about to, knock on wood, hit that magic 10-year mark. I got very catastrophically ill. I was in the hospital, in and out of ICU and in and out of surgeries for about 7 weeks, all sorts of things. But I just kept going. At one point, I heard the doctors arguing over how fast I would die that day. And I was like, excuse me, I get to vote. And obviously I voted. Resilience is about just doing what you have to do to go on. And some days it's, you know what, I'm going to spend the day watching TV. I need to preserve and protect myself and my own energies. And then other days, like yesterday, we went to an Atlanta Braves game, and I don't know how many miles my little Fitbit tracked because it kept saying, it seems like you're doing an outdoor walk. But it was a lot. And, had an absolutely fabulous time. But this morning it meant I was going to sleep in. And so resilience is also having the ability to give yourself that grace to honor what it is that you need, because we can't just keep going and keep going and keep going. Resilience is also knowing when we need to stop and pause for a while.
It's really a balance of what you're going through physically and your body, and then what you're taking care of yourself mentally, the emotions. Can you talk about the emotions that you're going through? Because I'm sure there's ups and downs in finding that place.
Yeah. I mean, it was funny when she told me, oh, hey, you do have cancer. I was annoyed. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't have time for that. And she looked at me like, well, you better make time. There's also anger. There's grief, right? Because the life that I had planned changed. And that was just kind of one of those things where it was like, no, that was not on my bucket list. There's also obviously happiness. There's gratitude. And I know we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but you do hit every emotion, and you can hit sometimes those all in one day, right? Now, I'm not a person who cries, but I did cry a couple of times. And sometimes it was just out of pure frustration. But you have every emotion. And again, you have to allow yourself to feel those. I think a lot of times people think, oh, I can't have a pity party for myself, or they get so down that they can't get back up. And so kind of feel those things. And certainly if someone is really struggling, then they are truly making the strongest decision they can to ask for help. And whether it's a minister, a therapist, whoever, even if it's just a best buddy, calling to talk to somebody, it's okay to say, I need a little help today.
What changes have you made from your lifestyle before till during
Mhm.
to now?
Knowing my own limitations, now, do I push those? Yes. But that's okay, right? I have tried to get rid of the toxic people and the toxic things. I watch the news, but I barely watch the news. I'm not going to get sucked into whatever the drama is of the moment. It used to be drama of the day. Now it's drama of the moment. Holy schmoly. And you can't get rid of every toxic person, but you can decide how you're going to react to them. And my husband and I have talked about this. Let's not put stuff off. I've told him, especially since he retired, every week we're going to do something where we're leaving the house, and grocery shopping does not count. So it's breakfast, lunch, dinner, brewery, ride, whatever, but we're going to get out of the house. We're not going to become these little hermits. And so we've gone on some great adventures, found cool new restaurants close by, all sorts of things. The bucket list needs to happen sooner rather than later.
And I absolutely love that because that's part of living, taking
Mhm.
life
Right.
when
Mhm.
you are staring down a pathway and going, well, we've got choices to make.
Mhm. Right. Mhm.
Sounds like you're making the most positive choices you can.
Right. And I'm sure there would be some people who would go, "What the heck?" But it's my choice, right? And that is the important thing. I tell people when they're dealing with something like this, they need to really be true to themselves. They need to advocate for themselves. They need to make sure that the decisions that are being made are their decisions. I mentioned I fired several doctors. It's not that they were incompetent, bad, any of those things. We just didn't get along. And part of it, I had one, oh, God bless him. He did not understand my sense of humor. Now I know obviously there are times when I have to be serious and things like that. But yeah, he didn't get it. And I thought, no, this is not fun. But like my surgeon who I'd walk on fire for, and not a lot of people have their own surgeons, right? He's done at least 6. I've kind of lost track, fairly major surgeries on me. And he and I get along so well. And we laugh and we joke. Often, sometimes his staff is looking at us like, okay, life really is too short. So pick the people that you want around you who are going to give you the best outcome.
And as an entrepreneur, when you're dealing with all of the doctor's appointments and
Mhm.
all the things that you have to go through and think about that you didn't have to think about
Mhm.
before, how
Mhm.
do you balance everything with your work life and your health?
That is a big challenge. And I know, especially a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners, leaders, they struggle with that. How do they tell people and what do they tell them? And sometimes they don't tell them anything, right? Because they think people might think, well, you can't do the job, or we need you to focus on getting better. So, all of these various things. I am very blessed that my clients totally understood, and they would have been gone if they didn't, right? But they all have said, you tell us what you need us to do. Because I'm actually still in active treatment, 9.5 years out. I go in every 21 days and I have treatment, and then I'm a little slow for a couple of days. So they know I might not respond then, but they're like, okay, that's fine. Of course, it shows what type of company they are, that they just, really value that approach, because everybody's kind of family. I've been working with someone who chose not to tell anybody he was going through it. And that's perfectly fine. It was his decision. So it's a challenge to figure that out. But I also tell people it does help that I run my own business. I can do pretty much everything I need to do with my phone, right? If I have internet access, I'm good to go. And hospitals and doctors' offices have really good Wi-Fi. There was one time where I was in the hospital for 7 days and nobody knew, because I just kept working merrily along.
It's interesting because being an entrepreneur, there are the advantages and disadvantages. The
Mhm.
advantages of you've
Mhm.
got the freedom to create your
Right.
schedule.
Mhm.
And for some, the entrepreneurs who struggle with getting a good health care
Right.
with their
Uh-huh.
small
Mhm.
business,
Yeah. I was and am extremely blessed that my husband has very good insurance that I am a part of. But I also know that that is more unusual than the norm. We were trying to figure out. I hit 2 million in payments a long time ago because yeah, like I said, there've been just a lot of things and the entire time the insurance company denied one thing. One out of everything that I have done. But I do know that I am very lucky and very fortunate to have that situation.
What advice would you give for someone finding their own resilience when they're struggling with their own health issues?
Take time to acknowledge everything that you're feeling. The grief, the sad. You might be happy. Somebody's telling me they're thinking about having diagnosis parties. And I thought, I like that idea. Obviously, it's not for everybody, but acknowledge that it's okay. And then you got to do some of the practical stuff. Sit down, make sure, you hate to say it, that your affairs are in order. But you need to make sure that all of that is taken care of. Make sure that your business is taken care of. You might, as we said, sometimes we don't tell everybody, but you probably should have a couple people that know. You at least need to have somebody who can pay your bills, do some of the things. Now, you might be able to just put your business on hiatus, and that's great. But if your business is still functioning, you need to have some type of continuity planning. You should have that no matter what, because you never know what happens. And we might actually like to go on vacation for a while too. Just kind of recognize what's going on and then develop your battle plan. I tell people I'm not a cancer patient, I'm a warrior. And I have my tribe that I have built up around me and a plan as to how we're going forward. Now, does it have to change? Of course. But especially when I got diagnosis number 2 and diagnosis number 3. But know that you are unique and distinct. And whatever you're going through is just you. Even if somebody has the exact same diagnosis of whatever it is, that's where it ends, because we all are going to react differently, mentally, physically, all of those things. And so just recognize that you're on this journey, but you're the one in charge.
Across oceans and voices, we rise as one. Our story